What's up, everybody? Franco here. Welcome to the channel, Italian edition. I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. I'm enjoying the sun and the sweating. Well, maybe the sweating a little less, depending also on the time of the day. Because at night you do want to sleep, I realized. After all, we are mammals and we need some shut-eye time. Otherwise, I start to howl at lizards when I see one. I don't know why that is. All right, we got some stuff to do here because the unsealed documents goes on, and I want to thank actually. I downloaded all the documents. I'm going through them, but I don't have the time that I thought I would have. So I'm also relying a little bit of other YouTubers, which they're already presenting some of the snippets from those documents. And in this case, I want to thank the real Laura B. Thank you, Laura, for doing this. We got some very interesting document here, which is from Dr. Collins. And if you remember, Dr. Collins was unable to be a rebuttal witness to AH. And but let's read this in regard of the evidence of the bruises and so on and so forth. The H claimed she received countless time from JD in different occasions, and oh boy, we got stuff. We got stuff, and also it's nuts. Like if you see here on the side, everything is trending again with Unsealed with more than 6,000 tweets. AH is a must with almost 9,000 tweets. All the things are unraveling, unfortunately, for this person. But we got to share the truth. And also, the mainstream media, it's already doing like some kind of anus interpretation of this. So we got to be busy. So let's read here from the first part together. Let's see if we can manage. All right. Analysis based on Miss H description of the video of the vial, Dr. Collins would expect to see more swelling or contusion of the face as well as laceration and incised wounds to the face secondary to the strike which allegedly resulted in on the wall. So the fluids of our body, the red one, the skin would have been broken. Facial scarring could have resulted from such a strike due to the blunt force trauma combined with sharp force injuries from the ring. Dr. Colling is not aware of any facial scarring to Miss H. Obviously, this is already like a common fact that was brought up in the court so many times that JD wears rings. And had those things really occurred, we would have seen traces of those nice hands, also reconstructed fingers, still wearing rings, like brazing over cheeks. I'm just saying, if that was the case, more than just, let's say, a patch of redness that I'm alleging myself could just be induced by doing this, it's gonna turn a little red. So, anyway, this is the second part. The facial area depicted in the photograph provided are not consistent with Mrs. Earth's description of the alleged. Dr. Collins would expect such a fascia to have resulted in a contused black eye with swelling. Everybody would have expected that. With such a build, Dr. Collins would expect bruising to the area struck, kicked, and bruised, and abrasion to the face by pulling the hair. Traumatic alopecia could result. Sorry if some words I don't pronounce, but believe it or not, one of my video was branded for 18 plus. I know I made a long post, and it was the audio recording transcript that I read a few days ago. Insane. I know you cannot use words, but anyway, with such abuse, the bruising and abrasion to the face by pulling the hair, traumatic alopecia could result. Kiki could cause broken ribs, a contusion over the body. None of these were depicted in photograph provided. Of course, if you also apply like that kind of force to the hair, actually alopecia can happen afterwards because of the trauma to the follicles. Um, and I'm kind of familiar with that because I had the problem at one time. But then, with some stuff was resolved. Local, little patches missing. From such sharp force injury, Dr. Cohen would expect incision on the feet and arms. No picture are provided of the alleged fresh cuts on Mr. Earth's body. However, pictures of scars are provided. It is difficult to ascertain from the picture of these scars when the injuries occurred. This scar could also be caused by self-inflicted wounds. After 3 days of extreme acts of physical violence, as described by Ms. H. Collins, would expect to see severe injury by various parts of the body. Dr. Collins would expect injury to the lips and nose and possibly a broken nose. Dr. Collins would expect neck contusion from manual strain. None of these are depicted in the photograph provided. Um, Based on Miss H's description of the V, Dr. Collins would expect to see bilateral periorbital contusion, black eyes, a damaged nose secondary to it being broken, or a split, contused, and swelled lip secondary to blunt force trauma and contusion over the body. Dr. Collins would expect to see forearm bruising secondary to defense wounds. Dr. Collins would expect to see sign of traumatic alopecia and documentation of all these findings in medical records. I'm going to get into that in a second. However, picture and such description are absent. Further, Dr. Collins has reviewed the footage and relevant photograph of Miss H and the Late Late Show with James Corden filmed in December 16, 2015. Of note, there is a photograph of where Miss Earth opened her mouth very widely, which is inconsistent with the description of injuries to her face, including a split lip, broken, and Miss H sustained the injuries as they described them. As she described them, opening her mouth that widely would have been painful and would likely have restarted active bleeding of the purported split lip. Exactly. So Dr. Collins is already saying everything that we kind of find out ourselves afterwards. Not only that, but as a rebuttal witness would have been great. So all of us, even by not being expert, we could have figured out that some of those alleged incidents would have shown way, way more signs. Unfortunately, also the pictures that were taken a week after the so-called, and even after a week, you would still would have had enough evidence that something happened, but it just wasn't there because the truth is that we're dealing with somebody that has quite some problematic history, and those unsealed documents are just showing like literally putting the last nail in the coffin of this very prolonged, what it seems to be a well calculated hoax against a person that was vulnerable, had his own issues, and that got worse and worse and worse in dealing with such a person. So, in a sense, making him the perfect victim to somebody that has healed intent and has a history and also diagnosed with a lot of pathology, with a lot of mental health issues to say the least. So, if anything, this is just a confirmation, but would have been just great to hear from from those people understand as a rebuttal. I wonder if some of those people in a little bit of time they might come forward and share their point of view. Maybe there is a time frame which they have to refrain from doing so. I don't know. I'm just guessing because also of confidentiality and other things. So probably also to avoid to receive themselves some lawsuits from the parties involved here. So anyway, guys, this is really getting quite nuts again. We're gonna make more videos. I hope you're enjoying this covering of those new videos and new documentation. Please let me know your thoughts on some Italian vlogs. And I want to thank you always for the support. You make this happen. Please drink water. Put on some sunscreen if there is warmth out there. That's what I'm gonna do. And eat watermelons. Very nice, hydrating.